The Advocate will be with you always. John chapter 14 verses 15 to 21. I'll never forget Alice's face. We were in a small group of adults, and were getting acquainted by going around the room, each of us telling something about our childhood. One older lady had had a good many disappointments and seemed bitter about her past. Then it was Alice's turn. She spoke to us hesitantly. When I was a little girl, I was put in an orphanage. I was not pretty at all, and no one wanted me. But I can recall longing to be adopted and loved by a family as far back as I can remember. I thought about it day and night, but everything I did seemed to go wrong. I tried too hard to please everybody who came to look me over, and all I did was drive them away. Then one day, the head of the orphanage told me a family was coming to take me home with them. I was so excited I jumped up and down and I cried. The matron reminded me that I was on trial and that it might not be a permanent arrangement. But I just knew it would be. So I went with this family and started school in their town, a very happy little girl. And life began to open up for me. Then one day, a few months later, I skipped home from school and ran in the front door of the big old house we lived in. No one was home, but there in the middle of the front hall was my battered old suitcase with my little coat thrown over it. As I stood there, it suddenly dawned on me what it meant: they didn't want me. And I hadn't even suspected. Alice stopped speaking, but we didn't notice. We were each at front hall with Alice, looking at the battered suitcase and trying not to cry. Then Alice cleared her throat and said almost matter-of-factly, "That happened to me 7 times before I was 13 years old." I looked at this tall, grey-haired woman sitting across the room and wept. I had just met Alice, but I found myself loving her and feeling a great compassion for her. She looked up, surprised and touched by the way we were responding to her. But she held up her hand and shook her head slightly. "Don't feel sorry for me," she said with a genuinely happy smile. "I needed my past. You see, it brought me to God. God won't abandon us, but we can drive him into the distance." Alice was invited into 7 homes before the age of 13. Her 7th invitation provided her with all that she needed. God is giving you an invitation into his home. He will provide you with all that you need. Are you willing to accept the invitation? Are you willing to reach out to God and invite him into your life? The Spirit, the Advocate, the Comforter, won't abandon you and leave your suitcase in the hall, with your jacket on top. He will be with you always. John chapter 14 verses 18 and 19. I will not leave you orphans, I will come to you. In a little while the world will no longer see me, but you will see me, because I live, and you will live.